Blackie, could you introduce yourself the way that you'd like to be remembered?
Hectic. Kamalamo sihle wasithole jobe yamajane. Kumesid name. And abantu bangithandayo bangazi as Blackie. Somnyama, the man, the hardest, the greatest.
The greatest.
Yeah, musician, producer, and everything in between. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. Why is that the way that you'd like to be remembered? Like introducing yourself by your government name, Sihle. What does Sihle mean to you? Do you think that Sihle prophesied the trajectory of your life, like the meaning of your name?
I mean, maybe, but I just like to just give thanks and respect to about the people that named me, so my parents, because they still heavily support what I'm doing, and I'm also in love with my culture, Zulu. So if anyone had to ever find out about me and know about me, they'll know what's a Sihle Zulu. Yeah, before being a rap and whatever we're doing right now, yeah.
And one of the biggest conversations right now in African music is the exportation of African music to the United States of America, right?
Yeah.
And as an African artist, you're speaking about being very proud of your Zulu roots. Do you feel that within the American market, or jumping into that, do you feel like you had to assimilate, you had to change sort of your sound and who you are? And do you feel like assimilation is particularly bad?
I don't think it's bad per se, because the biggest genre right now that's killing it in America from an African perspective is Amapiano. And it opened so many doors, young people are getting to travel a lot, they get to do what they love and get paid for it. But I don't think they assimilated. So the way that they're opening the doors is in a way that if anyone ever finds out about anything else that's happening in South Africa, like hip hop or like Blackie or like Nasty C, then they're gonna want them to give what they would give in South Africa, but just on a broader scale. So yeah, but I guess when you're doing something like a bigger project, with more songs or whatever, it's obviously advised to have some things that speak to the audience, the global audience, because in South Africa, when you're starting out, the stuff that makes you big, you don't really imagine it getting you anywhere outside of South Africa, so you're making it for abantu that are around you. Whereas, when you step out and you start to realize that it's super rare for any vernac song to touch the people out there, unless I don't know, it has a crazy melody or whatever. So it is advised, but then some people have hard heads and it works out. Some people have hard heads and it doesn't. So.
No, and I think one thing I really like about the way that Amapiano and South African music has hit the US is that people are learning the phonetics of the languages that we sing. I have so many American friends that know Mina Nawe, Sete, Mnike, word for word. Even before I learned Mnike, I remember because I wasn't really listening to Amapiano at that time because academics were just ugh. And then I remember I was at a party and one of my friends were like, Katiso, because that's my other name. Yeah, they were like, oh, it's Sete, oh, it's Mnike. And then they're singing it word for word. And I was like, Nina. When I came here, you guys couldn't even say Amatle. You couldn't even pronounce Katiso. And now, this is the impact of the music within, South Africa.
Yeah.
And I want to get into your upbringing, right? So in one of your interviews, if I remembered well, you mentioned that you learned English at the age of 6, right?
Yeah.
I also learned English when I was 6. And you're bilingual, you're from Durban. How has your upbringing in Durban, being bilingual, navigating English spaces while Zulu, how has that affected the way that you write your music? Has it affected the way that you write music? And just a follow-up question to that, if you had grown up as Zulu in Joburg, do you think your music would have been different?
I'll start with that one because I know a lot of people that grow up Zulu and Joburg. It's not the same, really.
It's not?
It's really not.
Yeah, you guys are always teasing Joburg. When I Isibaya Zulu, I always call it Isibaya Zulu, but like Zulu from eThekwini, I was like, because my mom grew up in Ngquthu, and I was like, that sounds so different to whatever you taught me to speak.
It's super different. Like when I got here and started speaking, it's different. I had aunties that like stayed in like Alex or whatever, trying to like figure their lives out. And when I used, because I think when you grow up in Durban, like it's closer to like the Oslusu and Oduga, like places that are just like strictly Zulu people. So once you figure out I used to visit for like weeks on end, maybe like a month at most. And then when I get back to Sydenham Heights, you know, where I grew up, and it's like colored people, they speak English only. I used to be like, oh no, and I have to relearn the English, because it's like every time I stay out there for long, I speak Zulu for all the time. Then when I get back, it's like, yo, I might have forgotten. So even now, I'm in that situation where I did a Ukozi interview recently.
And the Ukozi is strict.
I was like, I lost it. I need to go back to the farm. So it's like, yeah, it's different. But I mean, they can hear me and I can hear them, so it's not that much of a train smash. Learning English and like, you know, navigating through being Zulu and stuff like that. So yeah, the way I learned English was through books and reading. So I had a librarian, her name was Mrs. Downs at Ripon Primary School, and she used to I don't know if she brought the whole library thing to the school, because like I don't think it was there before, but yeah, when she was there, like there was just those periods like between the subjects or after school where you go to the library, pick out a book, you sit there, you read to the class, you read alone, you read to her, like just a whole lot of that. And then yeah, that's how I started learning about it. By the time I got and then I think that helped me a lot with just like academics in general, because after I figured out how to read and write properly, then you know, everything else became easier. Especially in primary school, there's not much to do. They just remember.
Yeah, just 1 + 1. You know? Then when we get to high school, that's when things get shaky.
Tricky. So yeah, by the time I got to grade 7, I was like, you know, top of the class or whatever, and then I got an academic scholarship to Clifton College, and then
you went to Clifton College.
I went to Clifton. So yeah, I feel like from then on, like there wasn't no going back from there, because you know, since I was so in love with like English or whatever, then I got into like creative writing, started doing a little bit of poetry.
Hold on. Listen, before we get into the poetry, because that's another question I'm gonna ask you. And actually, before we get into that, like poetry and like writing English programs at school, or like just writing programs at school, are really, really important. And the reason why I told you to hold on was because I was actually going to ask you a whole slew of questions about poetry. But actually, let me let you finish your sentence. I'm sorry. It was a bit rude of me to...
Okay, I'll skim past this so that we can get back to it. So yeah, after I learned that, then obviously performing the poetry for the class and stuff. But then at the time, I was listening to a lot of Atlanta hip-hop and rap and stuff, so... It wasn't,
about T.I. and
Lil Wayne, Migos, that type of thing, and it wasn't as structured as what I was, you know, portraying in class. So that sort of had like a weird end to it, where like I transitioned from writing into recording it. Yeah. But then when I was recording music, it like I couldn't even play it for my English teachers and stuff like that. It was just for like my friends and people that are you know, that are from home and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how it became a thing that I felt like it could be lucrative and I could find a career through it.
And in one of your interviews, you mentioned that the first time you recorded a song was in grade 2, and like, how important was it to have people that were supportive, or to have those type of resources at your disposal when you were young? Even though it's not like Jay-Z is your uncle or anything, but like having people that would be like, okay, you want to learn this thing about poetry? Okay, cool. This is a skill that you're learning. Okay, cool. Your neighbor has a recording studio, Nyana. How, like, all that stuff. How did that culminate or like come together? That support. How did that come together to form you as Blackie?
I think that all helped when I got to when I started liking making music more, you start being like alone in it. Like there's like no one wants to be with you after school for hours in the studio. So then when I was there alone, I think that helped, like recording back then in primary school and like knowing certain things about Fruity Loops and stuff, it helped because now I'm alone and I have to figure out how to record myself and make this stuff. So yeah, I spent hours after school just recording myself, downloading, listening, researching. And then yeah, at some point like it just started getting easier, and I still do that alone these days. Yeah.
Are you someone that enjoys your time alone over like being around a lot of other people?
I wouldn't say that for real. Maybe when it comes to music, or if I'm like locked in and I want to make something very specific, then obviously I'm gonna be like, okay, let me find my own space. But in general, like I like chilling with, you know, my friends. I like chilling with my girl, my brothers, you know.
Your girl's very pretty. My sister showed me your girl. My sister showed me your girl. I was like, she's really, really pretty. She's really pretty. I remember even my niece was like, oh, does he have a girlfriend? Because she's like 10, sorry. And I was like, yeah, like she's so pretty. Anyway, you're a really pretty girl. And then, so just going back to the poetry and stuff, and you said you really loved poetry when you were younger. Who is a poet that really influenced you? Or do you have a poem that you remember from primary school that you're like, Kumbuli next?
As I said, bro, like it had a weird ending. Like I feel like if
it was just a transition point, yeah.
Yeah, if I did both at the same time, I would have like gotten more into it. But even with like books and reading and stuff, I don't remember nothing. Like I just got so like deep into music that like you know. But some of the first, you know, Ted Hughes, his wife or whatever happened there. That was a cool story for me to learn in like grade 8. Yeah, that's it. I don't wanna like lie, you know what I mean?
And say, hey, Shakespeare, Midsummer Night's Dream. No.
But those do ring a bell, but it's like it's not what I wanted to do. So I ended up just getting into like social media and like my phone and like people that were popping, you know, just got into just pop culture in general instead of like poetry. Yeah.
And for your dreams in terms of being the artist that you are and the artist that you're going to grow into, like what taught you how to dream? Who taught you how to dream? And I'm asking this question because I think something I always think about is how, you know, certain environments limit people in terms of the aspirations that they have, and saying that you were influenced by, you know, Atlanta artists like Abo, the Amigos, who's this Lil Wayne and all these people. Like how did their dreams influence the way that you learned how to dream?
I wouldn't say it's artists. I think the main thing that taught me how to dream and like reach for whatever I'm wishing for would probably be like my family. You know, honestly, humble beginnings. My mommy and my dad met, you know, on like some white person's garden or whatever, and then, you know, they were able to do what they did to have us have like a good upbringing and stuff like that. But mainly my older brother, because he went to school. He went to university and he did like sports management or something like that, and then they weren't any jobs for that, so he ended up being like a cleaner at the hospital that my mother was working at. Like she plugged in to be a cleaner there, and then yeah, the story is like he was cleaning everywhere and started figuring out like, okay, this office is for this and this and that, and then he did like other side courses in order for him to get into certain interviews, and then yeah, just that process of just
hustling,
learning and hustling in the hospital got him to a point where he was like a PA of like one of the managers or whatever. And yeah, that was like, okay, then that means anything is possible. Like you don't need to learn something and do that. Like you could do whatever as long as you figure it out and, you know, sort of do the planning or whatever in your own head. So he's like a big inspiration in terms of that, like my older brother. But then obviously COVID hit and then I got to where I am now. And then I was like, okay, cool, you can, not that he can, but like I gave him an option to be like, yo, I know what you're doing right now, but I need like people,
with you in.
yeah, I need people that know me and know who I am. So he had to quit that job and then started working with me. I think back in 2022. Yeah, so he's my road manager right now.
Oh, how is it mixing family and business, or is business family?
Yes, I don't think business is family. There has to be a mix in a certain way, especially if you're like a prominent figure. Like it helps to have people that always care for you and know what you need and speak for you. You know what I mean? Because I don't really speak that much, especially like in meetings and stuff. So I like to bring him and then tell him that like, okay, this is what I want from this meeting, but you know, you say whatever because I know you're gonna, you know, say the right things.
Why you not to
I don't know. It's not my thing. Like,
serious.
It's not my thing. Like, I don't like speaking. I don't like speaking to strangers. Like,
so one day, even when you're coming here, you are dragging your feet to see. Oh, because I'm saying so.
Oh, I thought you mean nah, not here. Obviously, now it's like I understand.
You get into character.
Yeah, not into character, but like I understand that like, you know, this is important and I know why I'm doing it, and it's like I know this. I've done like a few interviews, so I know it's Xumanjani, so it's like okay, cool. But like, you know, different meetings, meeting Americans, meeting Europeans. Now I have to speak about who I am and stuff. Nah, bro. I'd rather let
someone
manager speak or whatever, because they know. I feel like I'd say like the wrong thing or something.
So what's your favorite song and why? Like favorite song of all time?
All time. One song. Tell me yours and then I'll what I'm thinking.
I have no idea. One of my favorite songs at the moment is Get It Right by Thames and Ashake. Actually, it's like right there on the TV. But I think one of my favorite songs of all time is My All by Mariah Carey, because I really love listening to the words of the song, because I studied English literature in high school in the British system, and that's why I keep bringing up Sete, because like I analyzed it like a poem. I know you're probably thinking this girl keeps bringing up Sete, maybe it's the only song she knows. No, because it's one of the songs where like when I was listening to it, I remember like I'm such a geek about songs and about words, like so I read the lyrics and I analyze the literary devices and the parts of speech and that, because I think that's the beauty of like black music. And Mariah Carey's My All, like above and beyond her voice, like the words that she uses, the way that she uses metaphor and alliteration and, you know, syllables to communicate the message that she'd really give her all. You know, that's such a beautiful song for me. But when I get
right now, let me see. I can probably check what I like right now.
What genres did you grow up listening to, bro? Check something on the camera.
Deep house for sure.
Like liquid deep.
Yeah, liquid deep, black coffee. I used to like female vocalists on house beats, so like Monique Bingham. Who else was doing that stuff? Portia, what's her name? Portia Monique also, I think. Yeah, they were like anything that Boosie also was fire. I love Boosie. Yeah, a lot of deep house and a lot of neo soul. So like Lyra and like Talisa Manso.
Oh, so you grew up listening to South African music?
Yeah. No, I didn't listen to. No, I know nothing about Tupac and whatever.
So what introduced you to American music?
SoundCloud and just pop culture, like in school. I went to old boys school, so like stuff we spoke about at break and stuff, so you know, just to, I don't know if it was to fit in or like I really liked it, but you know, just to be part of the conversation. And then I got into the stuff now. Favorite song right now or all time?
Are you on Spotify? Do you use Spotify?
No, I use Apple.
Why? I use both, but why Apple Music?
I don't know. I haven't been clued up about Spotify. I don't know what goes on.
So since until 70, sorry, you've been using. Sorry, I'm used to Zulu people not knowing since.
No, how 70? So that sounds like 7. It's the same
70,
thing.
oh yeah, babe.
I like Party Next Door right now. So I like Lose My Mind right now. That's a nice one. Of all time, I'm gonna have to say probably Soul and Mind by Lyra.
Why?
Ew.
That is so unexpected. I never thought Lyra, we love you, girl. My mom's the hugest fan of Lyra. I had never thought Lyra would be mentioned in this interview.
She's like, ew, I don't know how she comes up with like the stuff that she sings about. Cause as an artist, like the first few songs, like I feel like that's where people like start to fall in love with you, but then like they want to know more about what you think about and stuff. So myself, I try to get into spaces where I can think about different themes and stuff like that, but she used to just come up with it like so easy, like speak about her childhood in relation to her adult life right now, when she was getting married, anything. Like she would just like have full like 4 or 5 minute songs where she's just belting out crazy melodies about what's going on in her life. So it's like it's always been inspiring. So Soul in Mind, I don't know. I think it's very spiritual. She's speaking just about. I don't even know what it really is about, but it just feels good to listen to it and hear her, speak about what she's speaking about.
That's really.
Do you know that song?
No, I don't. I only know I just wanna feel good. No, let me add it to my favorites here. And
so
then
you use Spotify?
I use both of them because my family started using my Spotify since I pay for Spotify. Then I just got bored of them using my Spotify and changing my algorithm.
Gospel?
No. They listen to R&B music. They listen to Amapiano. Let me actually check what they have on my repeat. So they have Iris Star and Ruga, probably me, Uncle Waffles, Thames, Shake, Sexy Red. My nieces, she loves Sexy Red, something so Escape, Destiny's Child, all those people. Tyler, love her. And then one of my friends, one of my teammates, they wanted to ask you this question. So what is the story behind David? They emphasize David, exclamation mark. I'm actually ask this question, please. What is the story behind David?
David, so I also grew up in like a very, actually just my mom, she's like very Christian orientated, so she used to take us to church a lot when we were younger. I don't know, sort of lost it like in university, but I still feel it when I'm watching a priest speak or whatever. Like it's not, I don't skip it, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't go out for it. That's the only thing. But like I still the roots are still there. So David was mostly about me and Leo coming out here, being, I wouldn't say trapped, but just being put in the corner, really, because we don't have friends out here still. We don't have.
So it's just Nova people.
Yeah, it's just us two that are like that know, because Leo, I grew up with him from like preschool, so like we have the same conversation, same mind, we speak the same, like even look the same. So like we used to just, even right now, like even though my brother's there, but my brother doesn't know.
You said your brother was 10 years older than you.
Yeah, he's 10 years older than me, so he doesn't know me as much as Leo knows me, and I don't think anyone knows Leo as much as I know him. So like with being with him, it was fun at first, and then it just got really tough because obviously COVID, like different families are having their own problems, and it's like there's these two kids trying to be rappers, and now they're there with my son busy eating our food and stuff like that. So it became like, I think maybe for like a month or 2 months, like we'd stay somewhere, and then the guy that we at would be like, yeah, nah, it's chai. You guys have to bounce. So you have to make more calls and bounce from house to house.
And so, rent in Joburg is expensive.
No, not renting. That's the thing. That's why people were getting annoyed, because it's like we come there with the call would be like, yo, came there for a few days. We just want to figure something out, but you know, we're gonna figure it out. Don't worry. Then we get there, and then we'll overstay. You know what I mean? Which is bad, but
still, like, you had to do what you had to do. Honestly, like I'm not even judging. Yeah,
we had to do what we had to do. So yeah, David is about that. I think the line that people related to, the lines that people related to the most were about Leo, when I was saying like, so at the last place we were at, which is where we stay now in Midrand.
Why Midrand?
No reason.
That's so far from everything.
No, it's not. It's close to here.
Okay, it's close to here, Mara. Like Parktown would have been more central, no?
Parktown.
Rosebank.
Nah, that's expensive even. No.
Oh, okay.
Midrand is nice. I like Midrand.
And it's quiet.
Very quiet. There was a situation where it was like, okay, you guys have to leave, but we can accommodate one of you guys. So it's either both of you guys leave or you guys have a conversation of like who can stay.
What?
I don't know what that was about really, but I think it was just more resources, because I think the house we're staying at now is 3 rooms and then the studio and stuff. So there are already people there, so we used to switch, like sleep on the couch or sleep in the room that's extra. So it was like, there's one room, so one of you guys can stay, or both of you guys can go, but not both of you guys can stay. So I had a conversation with Leo. I told him that, okay, this is how it is. And at the time, we used to sell features. So I was selling the most features at the time, and that's how we got to like travel and like take taxis or take whatever we needed to get where we need to go. So he was like, okay, you got the most motion right now, like your Instagram is a little bit more popping. So he went back to Durban, and then I stayed. And then a month later, that's when I met Nandi, my manager, and you know, we signed the contracts, and then decided to stay there in Midrand, got the album done, and then, you know, things started popping off, and then I was able to bring it back. But yeah, that's what David is about. That time he left, I think I recorded David like 2 days after. Yeah, so that's what it's.
So you were heartbroken.
A little bit, but yeah, I was also very hopeful. So I think that's what the song portrays. Like, it's not a sad song really. Like when I perform it, like people jump around and it's turns up and stuff. So I think maybe the contrast also, maybe that's what people like. But yeah, it's a cool song. I like it.
That's so sweet. That was for you, Vui. I said your question. And then, so what has been your favorite tour? And then what's your dream tour?
Favorite tour has to be the one I did with Baz recently. This year. Yeah, that was this year. Did a tour for his album. That was crazy because I got to see so much of America in such a short space of time. You know, I think it was like 20 cities. Just traveling, road tripping, flying, dealing with the jet lag, like all the stuff.
How do you not get sick with it? Like, that's always what I wanted to ask celebrities and like singers. Like, how do you guys not get sick? Because every time I come back from the US, I come back home twice a year. Those first few days, like that jet lag hits me like a bus. Now you guys, you get there, boom, you're running around, you're singing, you're entertaining people. What do you drink? Lucozade, Red Bull, and does the Red Bull give you wings? Like, what's going on?
We got sick like in the first few days because it was still winter when we got there. So like beginning of the year, so vibes. And we started in Texas. So Texas is like dry, but it's also like
it's like Joburg weather, ne?
Yeah, it's weird. But then we all got sick, and then.
At least you didn't start in like Boston or New York where it's snowing every day.
Oh, we got to one place where it was snowing. I even took a video there. I forgot where it was though. I think it is. Nah, I don't even want to say the wrong thing.
And then you
I don't want to say the wrong thing. But yeah, that was. We got sick for like maybe like a week. But the shows were like back to back. So like for the first few shows we were all sick. But then we figured that out, and then. yeah, the rest of it was fire. But then I wouldn't say like I remember each of the cities, like the vibes of it, because we did interviews also along the way, and people would be like, "So what's your favorite city so far?" And I'm like, it's all a blur right now because we're not there for more than, I'd say, 16. So some of them like 8 hours. Like we just get there.
So you just there and
get there, do the show, out. Get there, do the show, out. So that's how it was. But that was my favorite one because that was a tour where I met J. Cole, met Baz, I met Drake. You know what I mean? Like it was a nice one.
Those people.
You know.
Oh my word, how was it meeting J. Cole?
I
didn't want to ask you too many questions about Americans, but I love J. Cole. So how was it meeting J. Cole?
Fire. Like he's very, very down to earth guy. I think what made it easier was because Baz is part of his label. So Baz was like, yo, this is the guy I'm on tour with him right now, whatever. So yeah, the difference between the Cole and the Drake meeting was like the Drake one was more of just like dapping him up, like
I'm a fan.
With Cole it was more like he asked me about the tour and how I feel about it. I think at the time he was working on this one that he dropped now, this Might Delete Later tape. So they were planning all that stuff, so I got to hear them plan like what to do next and stuff like that. So it was fire, like, you know, just being in that space because it makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing, you know. So that was my favorite one. Dream tour would be definitely a South African tour. I haven't seen anyone do like a
fill up the dome. The dome I saw.
Yeah, but that's not a tour though.
Okay.
That's just like a show.
Fill up Moses Madida, fill up FNB. What is your dream tour? Like touring around the country.
Yeah, like a stadium tour. Do the 9 provinces, the main cities. It's the stadium there. You know what I mean? That would be lit. But on a smaller scale, just driving around South Africa and just doing like a normal tour, even if it means like not one place. So if I'm doing Durban, I'll do like a Newcastle show, Tegwini show. You know what I mean?
What's the difference between? Isn't Tegwini the whole of Durban? No.
KZN, and then Tegwini is Durban. KZN, in KZN you got
Durban, Peter Maritzburg. So Newcastle's not in Durban.
No,
Newcastle's it's its whole city.
Yeah, it's like PNB.
Wow. I'm so sorry. I always learn something new about KZN. I always thought that Newcastle was in Durban, like the same way that what's that Indian township?
Chatsworth.
No. Other one.
Phoenix
is in Durban, right? So I thought that Newcastle is just like a suburb in Durban or something.
It's its own thing.
Oh yeah, my sister's from Newcastle.
Richards Bay, it's all its own thing.
Oh, Blxckie, sorry. And then I just have 3 more questions for you. My third last question is, what does I've made it look like for you? I know all the questions that I've been asking you are about dreaming and stuff, and I think for me the reason why I've asked you so many questions around the theme or the motif of dreaming is just because I always want to teach people that there's so much beyond where you're at right now, right? And as Blackie, I think even before I asked this, right? As Blackie, after meeting Drake, you've met J. Cole. You have all these opportunities. You're signed to Def Jam, right? I don't know if you're not okay. You're signed to Def Jam. Like, do you ever feel like, number one, oh my word, I've made it, or do you always think that there's something beyond this? Like I always had to dream. Do you sometimes have to train yourself to think beyond where you are?
I don't think train. I feel like it comes naturally because there's different milestones to hit every time. So like when we started, it was like we just want to be the biggest in Durban because like when we started, I think it was like 2018, 2019, Nasty C was big at the time. But it was like, we see what Nasty C's doing, but like there's people in Durban that are killing it in Durban. So we just want to be at that level. So you get to that level and then the calls start coming in to be like, yo, Joburg, this and this is happening. So I was like, okay, we just want to get shows in Joburg. We're performing in Durban, but now we want shows in Joburg. Get to Joburg, do the shows. And then it's like, now we're seeing Modern Cool Cat, we're seeing Casper at these shows, and it's like, okay, now we want to be the biggest in Joburg. When you're the biggest in Joburg, by default, you're like the biggest in South Africa.
Because Joburg is
Not
the...
much. Not much.
You can't be the biggest in Pretoria. No shade to Pretoria.
That is wild. But yeah, it was like, okay, biggest in Joburg means biggest in SA, so that's fine, let's do that. Did that, then you start getting like the playlist things and like all these different opportunities from outside of South Africa. So like you're looking at your stats and it's like, yo, the Zambians are going crazy, Botswana, you know, and then that's when I did the album and then I did the African tour, like media tour, did Nigeria, did Kenya, did Tanzania, you know, just...
South African artists love going to Tanzania. What is it about Tanzania?
I don't even know, but I want the way for anyone to like have that notion or that goal for themselves is to make it very personal, because this stuff, you know, the music is for the people, like the shows are for the people, like, and the people always want something more, but like if your goals are more personal. So for me right now, I'm building Angel for my parents where they stay. There's obviously the show that I want to do in Durban and West Mabita. Like those are like very personal goals that like once I'm done with them, I'm like, it's done, you know what I mean? This is it. But this other stuff, like you can meet Drake and then it's like, yo, there's this Indian artist that's going crazy and it's like the population in India is crazy too. So it's like gotta hit that diaspora. So it's like it's never enough really. So yeah.
Is that daunting? Like thinking that it's never enough? Or is it a motivating thought?
Maybe a bit of both. I feel like both can be true at the same time. Like it's, I don't know, cause now you met Drake, so it's not really ever done because people always gonna listen to your music and want you to perform. You know, like the Jay-Z's and the Rihanna's and stuff that feel like they done, but you know, pop out with a feature here and there. So you're not really done. So yeah, the goals have to be personal in order for you to have like a finish line. Yeah.
So what's your dream collab with an African artist? Have you already gotten that dream collab?
Nah. I say Lyra. I always say Lyra.
That would be
Lyra. I always say Lyra. But she got a stroke recently. She got sick, so
she's recovering.
Yeah, I seen her perform also. Cause she's way better now, so maybe I should tap into that. But yeah, outside of South Africa, yeah, it has to be Rema or like
Rema. You guys have the same vibe. You guys do have the same vibe. Even your style, like you guys
Rema's
do
fire.
have the same vibe.
Yeah, I think that's a dream one.
And then actually, I said 3 more questions, but now it's actually, I'm so sorry. Something you said triggered something in my head. So often when African artists make it, a lot of people were working to make it out of the hood, right? And you just mentioned that you are building a house for your parents. I don't know if this is a taboo topic. My mom told me never to ask people this question. Like, if we want cheek, I will edit it out. But do you ever feel the weight of black tax, or is it that, as umdomnyama, is it umdungabantu? Do you understand that you wouldn't be here if it weren't for your parents, or so is that their gift?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know, man. Black tax is. Is there a word for it, like Zulu or whatever?
No.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it's just a weird thing that's coined, but it's like it's always part of like culture. Because, I don't know if I should. I should though. It's black tax.
But why not? Is black tax good or bad?
I feel like it's good. So,
or are there gray areas?
So I don't think there's any gray areas unless like, you feel that way personally, like no one's gonna judge you or anything, but my mom, so she did this thing with my older brother and with me and with my younger sister, where like when you start getting income, well at first, so when I did the features and I was getting money from that, and then I went to Durban to like tell her that like this is what I want to do. I gave her, but that wasn't through her. That was just me trying to convince her that like this is what I'm doing.
Like a bribe.
Yeah, like a bribe. So when I started, like, when she started seeing me on TV and stuff or whatever, we had this one conversation where she was like, okay, now, since you know, getting like a steady income or whatever, you need to send money back home. Doesn't have to be like
50,000. Yeah.
No. Just so, like, just see what's so, like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do like the electricity. I don't know how much that was, but it was whatever. I did that for a bit, and then when I started getting more serious with my girl and stuff, she was like, okay, now you can stop. I was just teaching you that, like, when you get to a certain stage of adulthood, you're gonna have to, like, it can't be a stress to you, you know what I mean? Like, it has to be like something that you let go of, and like that's how life is. So she said that did that to my brother, did that to me. So once my sister is done with her law thing, same thing, you know what I mean? It's just to teach you. But I don't know if that's how it came about, or is that the origins of like black tax or whatever, but to me that's how it is. So even now, like, even though she told me to stop, like, you know, sometimes I just feel like, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think that's an interesting conversation, because I think the black tax conversation in my family always comes from the fact that, okay, firstly, I grew up in like white suburbs. I went to really white schools, and when we were taught about it at school, it was like, oh, this is just a black tax that happens because black people are in poverty, and then upward mobility, and black people never want to work for themselves. And so, like, as black people who grew up in the suburbs, we were taught that black tax happens because the people who stay in the hood were like too lazy to work their way out of the hood, if that makes sense. And so even for me, my sentiments around black tax are something that I'm trying to decolonize and rethink about, because I'm like, but then if you grow and there's people who are responsible for feeding you to a point where you are pagile, people who paid for your education, people who sacrificed all they had to make you who they are, like, or like, what's wrong with paying them back? Not that they were expecting that payment. I think for other people, the chat with black tax is like, oh, that payment is expected and that they never have money for themselves. But I also think that this is where the whole thing of now living in a colonial world, but then coming from African culture is kind of difficult, because even when you said, like, is there a word for black tax in isiZulu, Ngesintu, I'm like, isn't it Ubuntu? But like, even Ubuntu and black tax, those are like the connotations
Ubuntu
to those
and, like,
things
money, they don't really go together.
So yeah, and then my last question, I promise. So you said you have a project coming out on Friday.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the project? Like, how are you feeling? What process went into that? How are you feeling? What process went into that? And what song took really, really short time to record?
So the project's called See You Soon. It's something I've been working on since I signed. First project under Def Jam. We made it an EP, so it's like an extended play, so it's not an album.
That's what EP stands for?
Yeah.
Extended play. I was just calling these things EP. Anyway.
Yeah, so they still. I don't know where that word comes from. Probably like from those days where they used to like tape record and use vinyl or whatever. But yeah, EP is basically just like. So album is like almost more than 12 songs or more than 10. Then an EP is like 6 to 8, I think. And most of the time EPs don't really have like a conceptual thing to it, you know, like albums, but you know, some people try to put all their work into it. But yeah, this EP for me is basically like a mirror image of Before Now, the debut album, because Before Now I was coming in the Before Now era, that album, I was coming into South Africa as like a new artist. So the way I saw it was like, it's no use giving people a conceptual album when they don't know me, you know what I mean? So I was like, let me just give them a variety of different vibes, and then, you know, whatever catches on, then that will be like the next thing. Like, I think about it in that way.
So this is just experimental.
Yes, it's not experimental because obviously the songs, they're like the vibes. You know what I mean? It's just like a showcase. You know what I mean? So.
A showcase. I think that actually.
Yeah. So. Yeah, well, before now, I did like the trap stuff. I did some hip hop stuff, some Afro stuff, some R&B stuff, and then after that, I was like, okay, cool. The R&B stuff is going crazy. The Afro stuff. So that's how I ended up doing more than just rap. You know what I mean? Because before the album, I used to just rap a lot, and then that's how I gained traction.
How did you discover that you could sing?
Or
is it auto-tune?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, but also, as I said, like, I listened to a lot of deep house when I was younger. I liked the female vocalists and what they were doing on that. So I feel like there was a sort of, you know.
That's so funny because I think of you as a vocalist or as someone that, like, can you can capture ears through your singing. Even if it's auto-tune. Like, I usually get turned off by auto-tune, but I think you're different. Yeah.
We're in the future now, so like when I say when I use auto-tune, I don't want to like sound like T-Pain or whatever. It's just like to fix the notes that I'm not doing well, you know what I mean? So that's why some songs you can hear good to no, Blackie. This is definitely auto-tune. But the other ones, like David, there's auto-tune on that, Said there's auto-tune on that, good to hear, like all of it. But it's just like to fix what I'm doing. So even now, even when I'm performing, I have the whole system there, so that I can sound like how the song sounds. But yeah, that's basically See You Soon EP. I'm introducing myself to the global community, the different diasporas that are there, any market that the label is trying to fit me into. They have a variety of different things, and then after that, we can figure out like how to capitalize on anything that people are taking a liking to.
So, okay. So how do you find the balance between trying to fit into a market but then also remaining true to who you are? Is authenticity a fallacy? Like, is it even real?
It is real. I mean, as a musician, there's different aspects to you. You know what I mean? It's not, we're not just dropping music and no one can see you or whatever. Like, you can be Zulu, you can be African, and be true to yourself in an interview, in a music video, on social media. You know what I mean? But then the music doesn't have to directly reflect that, especially not all the time. Like maybe you can have a song like Gonzagile or Said and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, this is for my people, this is who I am. But when it comes to something like a project, there's a lot that goes into it. Like there's interviews, there's a whole lot of different things where people, before they even hear the project, they have to know who you are. So I don't think it's a fallacy per se, but like there's places where you can show people who you are.
Okay, closing question. I am really enjoying this. Why Blackie? Like, why Somnyama? Why that name? Is it because you're dark skinned or
That's how it started. Is
that what they used to call you in primary school?
No.
Oh, did you call yourself that? Or?
Yeah, I called myself that. They actually used to call me Unokwacha. That was the teasing name. Yeah, because I had a huge overbite.
Oh.
Then I got braces, so then I fixed it a little bit. But yeah, Blackie.
That's so mean.
Yeah, that's so then Blackie was because I'm dark skinned, so I had like I've never been ashamed of like being dark or whatever. So even when I started like rapping, like I had this one line where I was like, I don't know what I said, but like something about Blackie Chan or kicking raps like Blackie Chan or something. So I was Blackie Chan for a long time. And then, in high school when I started getting into the internet and stuff like that, I used to search myself a lot. I still do. Search myself.
Just for PR control.
Yeah, just to see.
Network control.
See what's going on. So there was too many Blackie Chans. So then I just changed.
Really?
There's a lot of Blackie Chans on the internet. There's a lot, especially gamers. A lot of gamers are named Blackie Chan. So then I took out the Chan and then I stylized the A2 and X. Then it became more rare.
Oh wow. Okay, thank you so much, Blackie or Cece, for this interview. I really, really enjoyed this, and I'm gonna. So this is mainly for my research. So they have journalism grants, and I got the journalism grant, and I'm gonna be in the UK, and I'm gonna go to Ghana and Spain. So I was in Kenya as a part of this. I interviewed a photographer who photographs for Vogue and Ferrari, and then my friend who is a fashion designer in South Africa and in Kenya, and then in SA you are number one on my dream list. And when you replied, I was literally screaming. I was about to extend my stay in Nairobi, and I was like, girl, I gotta go.